For centuries, the story of humanity has often been told through the victories of kings, the rise of empires, and the deeds of men whose names filled chronicles and stone carvings. Yet beneath those dominant narratives lies another story, quieter, older, and equally powerful. It is the story of ancient women whose influence shaped civilizations long before written history recorded their names. These women were rulers, healers, warriors, inventors, spiritual leaders, and the unseen architects of societies. Their power was often hidden, either by the limitations of their time or by the selective memory of later generations, but it was no less formidable. To trace the hidden power of ancient women is to uncover the roots of human progress itself. Long before kingdoms rose, ancient communities were sustained by women who mastered the knowledge of the natural world. It was women who first studied plants, learned which herbs healed and which ones harmed, turning observation into early medicine. Archaeological evidence from prehistoric sites reveals female figurines associated with fertility and protection, suggesting that early societies viewed women not merely as caretakers but as symbols of life, continuity, and sacred power. In many early cultures, women were revered as the bridge between the earthly and the divine because they carried the mystery of childbirth, a miracle ancient people struggled to understand but deeply respected. As civilizations formed, women's authority became more structured. In ancient Mesopotamia, priestesses served as powerful intermediaries between the gods and the people. These women managed temple economies, oversaw land, and held positions that commanded respect equal to their male counterparts. In early Sumer, women like Enheduanna, the world's first known author, composed hymns and literature that unified religious beliefs across regions. Her words shaped identity, culture, and politics, showing that literary and spiritual power could be as influential as military might. Across the Nile in ancient Egypt, women rose even higher. Egyptian society valued wisdom and lineage, enabling women to own property, manage businesses, and serve as physicians. Some became pharaohs with absolute authority. Sobek-Neferu, Neferu-Sobek, and later the iconic Hatshepsut wielded the full power of the throne, commanding armies, building monuments, and negotiating with foreign lands. They were not anomalies. Egyptian queens and royal mothers often steered political strategy, protected royal heirs, and ensured dynastic stability. The goddess Isis herself symbolized the ultimate combination of motherhood, magic, intelligence, and leadership, embodying the ideal of the powerful ancient woman. Meanwhile, in the Indus Valley, one of the earliest and most advanced civilizations, archaeological finds show female figurines connected to prosperity and agricultural cycles. Although written records remain undeciphered, clues suggest that women played significant roles in trade, agriculture, and religion. The stability of the Indus cities, their planned streets, sanitation systems, and peaceful organization may very well have been supported by women working behind the scenes as planners, organizers, and guardians of domestic and economic life. In ancient China, women influenced dynasties long before they could openly rule. Royal women in the Shang and Zhou period served as political advisors and military leaders. Oracle bone inscriptions mention queens who led troops into battle, challenging the later belief that women were confined to the home. Fu Hao, for example, was both a high priestess and a general commanding thousands of soldiers. Her tomb, discovered intact, revealed weapons, ritual items, and treasures that testified to her extraordinary power. She embodied a truth often erased in later patriarchal retellings. Ancient Chinese society once allowed women to wield enormous military and spiritual authority. Across the Mediterranean, ancient Greece is often portrayed as a male-dominated world, yet behind its myths were women whose influence shaped culture and lore. Goddesses like Athena, Artemis, and Hera represented wisdom, strength, and sovereignty, qualities deeply admired yet complicated in their human portrayals. While actual political power for women was restricted, their roles in family, philosophy, and mythology remained central. The Oracle of Delphi, a woman known as the Pythia, held a spiritual authority so immense that kings, warriors, and philosophers sought her guidance before making crucial decisions. Her words shifted the course of wars, founded colonies, and influenced laws. Through spiritual influence, women balanced the dominance of political power. Rome, too, held a paradoxical relationship with female power. Legally limited yet socially vital, Roman women steered families, business dealings, and political alliances. Livia Drusilla, wife of Augustus, shaped the imperial legacy, influencing succession and diplomacy with a subtlety that historians are still uncovering. Women in Rome acted as the stabilizers of society, managing estates, educating children, and maintaining networks that held the elite together. Their influence may not have always been public, but it quietly directed the empire's internal strength. Farther east, ancient Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia held traditions where women served as shamans, queens, and warriors. In Japan, the earliest recorded ruler was a woman, Queen Himiko, a shamanic leader whose spiritual power united clans and brought peace. Across the Korean peninsula, queens and noblewomen managed court politics, shaped cultural trends, and influenced military affairs. In Southeast Asian societies, matrilineal traditions allowed women to inherit land, lead tribes, and choose rulers. Their identities were intertwined with the land itself, symbolizing continuity and communal strength. In sub-Saharan Africa, women held roles that defy modern assumptions about ancient gender power. The Kingdom of Kush, for example, was ruled by the Kandakis, powerful warrior queens who defended their land against Roman invasion. Queen Amanirenas led troops against Emperor Augustus's forces and forced a peace treaty on terms favorable to Kush, an extraordinary achievement in ancient geopolitics. African societies often viewed leadership as a shared responsibility between kings and queens, with women acting as advisors, military strategists, and spiritual leaders. The Americas also hold powerful examples of ancient female authority. In Mayan and Incan civilizations, noble women participated in diplomacy, religious ceremonies, and governance. Some became queens who guided political transitions during turbulent times. Among the tribes of North America, women in matrilineal nations such as the Haudenosaunee Iroquois chose chiefs, oversaw land, and made decisions affecting war and peace. Their governance model later inspired early feminists in the Western world. All of these examples reveal a truth often forgotten. Ancient societies, even those that became heavily patriarchal, were shaped deeply by women whose power was both visible and hidden. Some ruled openly, others worked behind curtains of ritual, family, or diplomacy. Some led armies, others shaped culture, innovation, and collective identity. The hidden power of ancient women also manifested in their role as knowledge keepers. Women developed early agriculture by learning how seeds grew best, transforming wandering tribes into settled communities. They mastered pottery, weaving, and food preservation, skills that enabled population growth and economic stability. They were early scientists and engineers whose innovations supported entire civilizations. Without their contributions, the evolution of human society would have unfolded far more slowly. Yet their stories faded. As certain societies grew more hierarchical and patriarchal, female contributions were minimized or rewritten. Power that once flowed from women's knowledge, leadership, and spirituality was gradually restricted. Myths were reframed, laws rewritten, and histories retold to highlight male authority. But the archaeological and cultural evidence remains, waiting to be rediscovered. Today, Uncovering the hidden power of ancient women is more than an act of historical correction. It is a recognition of the diversity of human experience. It reminds us that power is not always measured by titles, armies, or monuments. Sometimes it lives in the decisions made quietly, the knowledge shared across generations, the spiritual authority that shaped belief, or the resilience that allowed civilizations to endure. By acknowledging the influential roles women played in ancient times, we reshape our understanding of the past, and by doing so, we open new possibilities for the present. The story of humanity has never been the story of men alone. It is a story written by women whose strength carried empires, whose wisdom guided rulers, and whose hidden power shaped the world long before history learned to write their names.